Hello everyone, welcome back to this second video on this channel. In this video, I'm going to be ranking all the Paradox Pokemon. So up first, we got Great Tusk. It's a solid B tier in my opinion. It's got a good typing with fighting and ground. It gets good coverage because of that with close combat and headlong rush. It's got great bulk and defense with 131 in its defense stat. It has an okay, actually better than average HP stat. The one thing it lacks is special defense. Um, it's very low. I believe it's like 53, but you can make use of it with Assault Vest. The one big downside is its middling speed tier. It's too fast for Trick Room, and it's too slow for outspeeding anything in the meta right now. So you're gonna really want to invest just everything in bulk in this Pokemon. So yeah. Up next we have Slitherwing. I believe that's going in the C tier. It's got a really bad typing and fighting and bug. It gets that 4 times weakness to flying, and also has many other weaknesses like fire, psychic, all that stuff. And the 4 times weakness to flying really hurts right now because of acrobatics roaring moon. But it's got some good moves and first impression, close combat, leech life, flare blitz. And because of flare blitz, it pairs really well with sun, and especially with its ability. So you could make work of photosynthesis and maybe get that speed boost, although that's really unlikely in sets with this. You'd have to make its attack stat really low. So just because of that, it's got to go in C tier. Next, we have Brute Bonnet, and I like to call this the offensive Among Us. It's got a really good attack stat, and it gets really good bulk. It's a great redirector and spore user, just like Among Us. Um, Gets Sucker Punch and Seed Bomb, and because of its dark typing, it can no longer be taunted. The one downside is that it doesn't get Regenerator like Amoonguss, but you can still make work of Photosynthesis, or you could just ignore the ability. And it has a slightly worse taunt. Sorry, it has a slightly worse typing than Amoonguss, but the immunity to taunt makes it worth it. Up next, we have Screamtail, and this is also going in C tier. It's got really great bulk and really great speed, but it just has absolutely no attack stats at all. Because of that, it can't really do anything offensively. Now it can set up screens just like other mons, but like Grimmsnarl does it way better. And because of its Grimmsnarl's dark type, it can't be taunted. This here can be taunted, and if it's taunted, then it's just immediately shut down. Unless you run Mental Herb on it, but then you can't run Light Clay. And yeah, so if you want to have a screensaver, just opt for Grimmsnarl instead. Next, we have Fluttermane, and this might surprise some people, but I'm going to put it in the A tier. A lot of people thought it was going to be broken going into this meta, but it's actually it's a really great Mon, just not broken. It's got really fast speed and really high special attack, but its coverage, unlike other Mons, it doesn't have really great moves. It has solid moves like Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, Mystical Fire, all that good stuff, but it has a really bad defense stat and a really bad HP stat. So some stuff in the meta can just KO, especially if it gets set up with Tailwind. So yeah. Up next we have Sandy Shocks. This one actually surprised me, but it's doing better than I originally thought. Um, Putting in the B tier, I originally underestimated it, but it has a really great offensive typing. It's lots of things for super effective. It's got an okay special attack and a middling speed, which are both hurting it a bit, but the ground electric type is just really good. And it's got less than average bulk of force, but you could run Choice Scar, Focus Sash, Choice Specs, and that all makes up for it. Next we have Roaring Moon, and this is going in between Brute Bond and Fluttermane in the A tier. It's got a okay typing. The 4 times weakness to fairy isn't that great, but the rest is okay. A lot of people have been using it with Booster Energy and Tailwind, which is a really solid use of it. Because of its dark typing, it can't be taunted. So it's really down to this or Murkrow and like the best Tailwind user. You could also vouch for Talonflame, but I think Roaring Moon and Murkrow are just on a different level. Also has a great attack stat, and unlike Murkrow, unlike Roaring Moon, Murkrow can't really do that much in attacking besides foul play. This gets acrobatics, earthquake, breaking swipe, throw chop. It's good in support and offense. Uh, Up next we have Koraidon, but I'm gonna save that for the end. So I'll just go to Iron Treads. I'm putting this in the C tier as well. It's got solid stats, and it's just really average. It doesn't do anything special, and compared to all the other Paradox Pokemon, which are really special and really strong, it's just not all that great. It doesn't have the best attack stat, so it can't really do that much damage, and it really just struggles to find a place on a team for like what it needs to do. Up next, we have Iron Moth. I'm gonna put this in B tier. It's got a really high special attack stat in 140. Also has a great speed in 110. In the previous meta, this would have been really great, but with the new Paradox Pokemon like Roaring Moon and Fluttermane and Iron Bundle, it's just not fast enough. And it has a really bad 4 times weakness to ground. It's weak to water, it's weak to rock, it's weak to psychic. And so it just really doesn't have great defense at all. Um, you'd have to run Focus Sash on it, or maybe try to run it with Scarf. It can't really make use of booster energy speed because its special attack is just so much higher. It's also got solid stab moves though, so that's what's really putting it in B tier. It's just the special attack and solid stab moves. The speed is good, but once again, it's just way too slow. Up next, we have Iron Valiant, which I'm putting in the A tier. I use this on my own tournament team, and it's really just good at burst damage. It's got both good special attack and attack. So you can use it as a mixed attack or just lean towards one. It's got a great type in fairy and fighting. You can really just switch in on dark type moves and you'll be fine. The only problem is that it's really frail and that will really mess it up. Um, it doesn't get play rough, which is really bad, especially since it has a higher attack stat than special attack. But a spec set with like Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast, that will just shred through teams, especially if paired with Tailwind. Up next, we have Iron Hands, and this is definitely an S tier. People didn't think it would be this good, but it's just really dominating the meta right now. Part of the reason is that there haven't been that many ground types in the meta right now. And Series 1, there's Garchomp, but now it just seems like there's no ground types to really counter this. It makes really good use of Assault Vest, especially with its really high HP stat. Also has really high attack. It gets Fake Out, which is really good. Drain Punch helps it stay alive. It's just so many things going for it. It can be used in and outside of Trick Room. It has Heavy Slam to protect it against fairies. Yeah, and I have a theory that Great Tusk might grow in popularity just because of Iron Hands. But we'll just have to see as Series 2 becomes more prevalent. But yeah, this is definitely really great mon. We actually have our second S tier Pokemon too in Iron Bundle. It's really great. It gets access to Icy Wind, Freeze Dry, Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, and Protect. It's really good with Focus Sash. It outspeeds every Paradox Pokemon, so it can just use Icy Wind and let its ally Pokemon go next. Um, it really helps with speed control. The stab moves are great. It's got a great special attack stat, along with the speed, of course. So yeah. And next we have Iron Jugulis, our first D tier. This is sort of disappointing in a way, but it's what you expect. It's just worse than Hydreigon. It gets Tailwind and it has an okay typing. We've seen Dark and Flying typings do good, like Galarian Moltres and Yveltal. But it's just got middling stats, and it's outclassed by Roaring Moon when it comes to Tailwind, and it's outclassed by Hydreigon when it just comes to damage. So I would just use Hydreigon if you wanted some variant of this. And then we also have our other D tier. This is easily the worst one. Has a 4 times weakness to ground. It doesn't get Sandstring. It has bad offensive stab and coverage. It's less bulky than Tyranitar. It's just a really big mess of a Pokemon. I would just use Tyranitar if I were you. And yeah. Now these last two Pokemon, they're not in Series 2, so I can't really say much about them. But Koraidon, its ability is a phenomenal ability. I think it's slightly better than Miraidon's ability, in which Sun is just better than Electric Terrain. But the only downside is that it doesn't get the Fire typing, but it still gets Flare Blitz, and that can do big damage. Now, Miraidon, its ability sets up Electric Terrain, and it can just spam Parabolic Charge with Specs. And yeah, Specs, Parabolic Charge, Terra Electric, the boost from Hadron Engine. Yeah, not a lot is surviving that, and especially because of how fast it is. It could easily shut down like Kyogre once that's released in the meta, you know. So yeah, that's the tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of it. And yeah, thanks for watching my second video. Yoda out.